What is going on, y'all, and welcome back to the Average Homeowners YouTube channel. On today's video, we're going over the 8 most important things that most homeowners need to know, but sometimes don't until it's too late. So with that, let's get into it. Okay, so first up on our list is knowing where your water shutoff valve is for your home. You don't want to have water gushing from the attic, water creeping out of your garage door or front door when you get home, and be Googling how to find the water shutoff valve. You want to ensure that you find your water shutoff valve, that you show everyone in the house where it is, how to shut off the main water. That way, if there's ever an issue at any toilet, at any sink, at any water point, you're able, or they are able, to make sure that they can shut it off quickly and effectively. This is going to minimize water damage to the home, which could save you thousands and thousands of dollars, or save you having to make that insurance claim and have your insurance go up on a yearly basis. So let's talk about the places where it could normally be. There are a few spots where the water comes into the house. In my case, it's inside the garage, and I'll show you that here in a second. But there's also normally a tap at the street or in the backyard, depending on where your community or your area runs the main water line. So we have 2 options. 3 if you count being able to shut off each location individually, but we're talking an emergency situation where you want to shut the water off as quickly as possible. So the first one for us is inside the garage. Let's go take a look at it. Okay, so ignore the little bit of gym equipment here, but that's our main water shutoff valve right there. And the way that that works is if we ever have an issue inside the house, we can run out here, twist that quickly, and shut off the water to the entire house. Now we also have a second location where we can do this, and that is going to be right at the water meter. If they're able to lock you out, you're able to shut it down. So there is a black box in the front yard, looks like this, right here. That's going to be your water meter, and on that water meter there's going to be a metal twist. You probably need a pair of pliers to do it, but that will allow you to shut the water off to the entire property as well. The second item on our list is not water, but power. You're going to want to make sure you know how to shut the power off to your entire house. You don't want to smell something burning, smell something electrical, or have something go wrong and not know how to shut off the power. Now that said, obviously our breaker box is designed to trip if something happens, but you want to make sure you know where to shut the power off just in case. This could be an electrical main outside the house where you just shut it down. This could be a breaker that you slide on the top or bottom of your breaker box. You just want to make sure you educate yourself and know exactly where to go in the event of an electrical emergency. Next, let's talk about having a clean air home. Most people only change their HVAC filters once a year. That is craziness. With all the allergens, dust, mites, all the different things in the air, you want to make sure you change it at least every 6 months, but probably every 3 months or less. Now, we live in a community with new construction going on. There's farmland south of us. I change mine every 2 months just to be safe. And it doesn't matter whether you have the single filter unit up in the attic or whether you have the multiple filters around the house. You don't want your system choking down or getting choked down by having a dirty filter. This can cause it to be incredibly inefficient, cause problems and damage to the system, cause it to sweat, have water issues, rust issues. Changing your filter is a simple step you can take to make sure that you prolong the life of your system and have a healthier, cleaner, probably happier home. So just change it regularly. Set up a schedule and make sure that you follow it. Fourth on the list is you're going to want to learn to read your utility meters. Let's say that you have water leak, or you think that your electric is running when it shouldn't be. You've got too many things on in the house. You don't want to get ripped off by the utility companies, just like you don't want to get ripped off by your bank. Make sure you learn to read your utility meters. Keep the water box cleaned out so that you can see the meter. If you ever think you have a leak or think your water bill is just too high and something's wrong, all you have to do is make sure all the water's shut off in the house and go out and pop the lid off the meter box, and you can see if it's running and see if there's something leaking either somewhere in the ground or somewhere in the home. It's a great way to protect yourself against getting ripped off by the utility companies. Next up is know what's going on inside your attic. A lot of homeowners never go up in their attic unless they're changing an air filter or putting some Christmas decorations up. If you know what's going on in your attic and you go up and inspect it a few times a year, you can save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars in future repairs and damages. You need to know what water damage looks like. You need to know what a roof leak looks like. If you go up there and inspect 1 to 2 times a year, you can prevent all of the damage that happens when these things are left untreated and unrepaired. It's also good to inspect for insect infestation or rodent infestation in your attic to make sure that you don't have any colonies of bugs or mice or anything like that up in your attic that can cause problems for you in the future. And if you haven't seen my video on how to get rid of mice or rodents, go ahead and check this out right here, because I think that will definitely help you out. It worked for me, it'll work for you. And while we're talking about a 99% guaranteed way to get rid of rodents, let's talk about the 99% of you that watch these videos that aren't subscribed. Even if you're watching on a TV, because I know a lot of you do, click that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. It helps the channel grow and helps me continue to provide videos like this for you in the future. Also, thank you for subscribing because you finally decided to. All right, so here in South Texas, we have had like 10 inches of rain over the last 2 weeks. It has been absolutely crazy, and we're headed into hurricane season. And one of the things that most homeowners don't understand is that home insurance generally does not cover flooding. If you are interested, and I know this isn't home maintenance based and it's not to-do and DIY based, but you need to have flood insurance, especially if you live in a flood-prone area. We're lucky, we live in floodplain X, unshaded, which is the highest you can get. It's the best rating for floods. But I still have flood insurance because just in case something happens. You don't know what can happen, and construction and changes to land around you can cause floodwaters to divert and do different things. So it's always best to explore the option of having flood insurance. So make sure you check that out, and even if you don't want to pay for it, talk to your insurance agent just so you understand exactly what you're covered for. All right, next, let's talk about your grass. It has taken me about a year to get the grass looking like this in the front. It took me 7 months to get grass growing in the back. For those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you know the struggles of the green grass in the back 40 over there. But it's all growing now, and one of the things that homeowners need to understand is that your lawn has a schedule even if you don't. Now, this can vary based on the type of grass you have, if you have a sprinkler system or not, what the rain looks like in your area, the rainfall, like I just talked about on the flood point. We've had a ton of rainfall lately. The grass is looking amazing, and I'm not having to water very often at all this spring. But we're coming into summer now, and something tells me I'm gonna have to start watering every week. Bermuda grass requires 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water every week, depending on sun exposure and other factors. St. Augustine requires a little more. Check the grass type and get a grass schedule in your area, but it needs watered on a weekly basis to stay looking good. You don't want to have a dead nasty yard in the middle of your neighborhood or on your property. You want to keep the area around your house looking great. That said, you also want to look into fertilization and pre and post emergent scheduling. I've done some videos on this in the past, and I'll do another one coming up here in the future, but you want to make sure that you follow a schedule with your lawn and stick to it to keep your grass looking green, lush, and healthy all year long. And number 8 on our list is one that can definitely keep you and your family safer in your home, and that's cleaning your dryer vents. Every time you dry clothes, you probably clean the lint trap, throw it away. It's nasty, it's gross, it is what it is. But once a year, you should run a snake or have someone come and clean out your actual dryer vent all the way to the pipe that comes through the roof or the side of the home. This can help prevent lint buildup inside of your dryer vents and help reduce the risk for fires from that igniting from the dryer and the heat it causes. All right, y'all, that is the top 8 things that most homeowners need to know but don't. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. Give me your feedback. Is there a video you'd like to see me make in the future? Is there a question you have that I can try and help you answer? Let me know. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.